Morning everyone, welcome back, and we're here in Japan this week after my holiday in Australia. I'm out here in Harafu, going to get some final training sessions in before my trail race in 2 weeks. I'm going to do a decent hike today, followed by a longer session on Sunday, and then probably take it pretty easy until the actual race. I'm not going to taper too much. I don't want to feel flat or, I don't want to feel like I've lost any fitness by the time the race comes around. So I'm going to keep active, but just dial down the volume and intensity so the legs are fresh, but, I'm practiced and I feel good. So let's get out there and enjoy the heat. Everything's looking much greener than what it was like before I left on holiday, so I'm really loving that vibe. So let's get up there. It's probably going to be about 500 meters of elevation, about an hour, so yeah, looking forward to it. Okay, hot one there, but really fun. Didn't quite go to the top. I didn't bring any nutrition and not much water, so I wanted to finish about an hour. If I went to the top, that would have been pushing it a bit too far, I think. But that was really fun. I think it was good. It was quite hot because I need to get a bit of heat adaptation for the race. I did get a bit of that in Australia, so just continuing to get that exposure. Yeah, but there was a cool breeze. It was nice and pleasant, so not too bad overall. Legs were feeling okay. I did a strength session yesterday, so a couple of aches there, but overall pretty good. And I'll have a rest day tomorrow. So let's get home, have some breakfast, and chill out. So the race is coming up in 2 weeks, and tomorrow I'm going to do a trial run of race day to make sure everything's running smoothly. So that means, eating correctly today or the night before, eating the same thing that I'll have for breakfast on race day and waking up at the same time, as well as running at the same time as the race will be, which is 9 a.m. It also means going and using all the same gear that I'll be using on race day, and I've got that all here with me, and I wanted to walk you through each piece and tell you why I'll be using it. And I love getting into the gear and the different brands and all that kind of stuff, so I think it's interesting to talk about, and I'll share it with you now. So starting from the top, the first piece is my trusty Snake River Brewing trucker hat. It's comfortable, light, easily adjustable, has this little toggle on the back, and I think it looks really cool. So that's going to be what I'll use for sun protection on race day. And I'll pair that with some District Vision Junior sunglasses. These are pretty comfy and light. They bounce around sometimes, but they do have an adjustable nose piece and these adjustable ear hooks. I've been pretty happy with these, and yeah, they're the only pair I've got, so I'll use those on race day. Next up is just a buff, and I'll wear this around my neck for some sun protection. But buffs are also great just for wiping away moisture or for any other thing you might need a rag for, so it's always good to have one of these with you. One of the most important pieces of kit is your race vest, and this is a Salomon Sense Pro 10, so that's 10 litres of capacity. I had an old Sense Pro in the older model, which I loved, so when that had to be retired, I got this new one. The design's a little bit different, and these pockets are a little bit funky on the front, but in terms of functionality and holding all the things you need, it does the trick. It's got water bottle pockets, a couple of zip-up pockets, and some big pockets on the back, including a nice big zip one on the back. So I'll be using that on race day. I use it all the time. It's the only one I've got as well. So yeah, that's what I'll be going with. That's going to be paired with these two Salomon Hydro Pack bottles. These are your standard running bottles with yeah, you know, easy to drink with tops on them. And I might add a third one in just based on I'll check out where the aid stations are and see how much liquid I'll need in between, but I'll be going with these. On the top will just be a light Salomon running shirt. This is probably the lightest shirt I've got, and I'm anticipating it'll be a pretty hot day, so that's why I'm going to run with this one. If it does turn out to be a bit cooler, I'll probably use, you know, one of the other shirts I have. I use Salomon shirts and a couple of other brands, but I use them all the time, so I know how they feel, and I wouldn't have any issues running with any of them on race day. So I'm going to go with this one just because it's light, but we'll see what happens on race day. On the shorts, these are my Patagonia Strider Pros, and I think they're the 5-inch inner seam. These are super comfortable. They have an inner lining, which I like and doesn't give me any issues. They have a zip pocket on the back, as well as a couple of stretchy pockets on the sides. Probably won't use these shorts pockets during the race. I'll put everything I need in my vest. But as a comfortable pair of running pants, you can't really beat these. Moving further down, I've got my socks. I've got some Stance running socks and some Features running socks. I love both of these, and it'll just depend on how hot it is on the day. If it's really hot, I'll go with the Features because they're a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner. If it's not too bad, I'll go with the Stance because they're really comfortable, and I probably prefer them in terms of feel and just how they go during a long day out. Next up is my shoes, and I have a couple of options. So I think the main pair that I'm going to go with are these Salomon Sense 4 Pros. Now I used these a lot last year. They're very well loved and super comfortable. They just really hug my feet, and I know they're going to work just like I need them to. So I've given them a couple of runs the last couple of days, and I'll run in them tomorrow just to make sure. But yeah, really happy with these. They're a bit racier, a bit lighter than your kind of normal trail shoes, so I think they'll serve me very well. The other option, if something goes wrong, are the Sense Ride 4s, which are a little less racy, a bit more cushioning, and probably a bit heavier, I guess, but I can't really feel the difference. These I've just bought recently and I really love them, so if there are any issues with the Pros, I'll have these as backup to throw on. Next up, and probably the most important thing, is nutrition, and I've got a couple of different products I'll be using. In terms of gels, which will be fueling me throughout the race, I found these Pure Sports Nutrition gels in Australia, and they looked pretty good. Now I haven't used them before, but I'll use them tomorrow on my practice run to make sure everything goes well. And you know, if it's a catastrophe, I know I can buy some goo gels at a shop locally, and I've used those before, and I like them as well. So I've got an option if these do fail, but I don't anticipate they do. There's some really good flavors like banana, honey, and like orange and lime. So I'm excited to try these out. There's a gel version, which is kind of standard gooey gel, and then there's more of like a fluid version, which is probably a bit easier to swallow, I think. So, you know, excited to try these out. They're like about 30 grams of carbs per gel, and I'll probably have one of these every 45 minutes during the race. Maybe one before the race. If I'm feeling hungry, I can probably just have more, you know, at any time during the race. So yeah, excited to try these out. I also have a couple of these with caffeine in them, and I'm going to abstain from caffeine until the race, so that when I do use them, hopefully it'll give me a boost, whether that's just psychological or physical, who knows, but hopefully that'll give me a kick that I need towards the end. In terms of drink, I've got this Scratch Labs hydration mix. And I really love Scratch products. They're really good on my stomach, and I feel like it delivers the energy really well, you know, as soon as you need it. I haven't been able to find this in Japan, so I did find some in Australia, and I brought it back with me. The hydration drink mix has carbs as well as electrolytes, so that's going to keep me running, keep me hydrated, and you know, the gels are just there to kind of, you know, supplement the carbs. So it's going to be a bit of a 1-2 punch, gels and drink, to deliver all my energy needs. But I know Scratch works really well with my body, so I'm happy I found that. I might also take stuff in at the aid stations there, food and otherwise, but I'm probably going to pack enough that I don't need the aid stations at all. I'll just bring along extra drink that I can mix in, and enough gels to get through the race. I've also been taking this Boost Performance stuff kind of every day throughout training. It's got some vitamins, magnesium, calcium and stuff like that. So that's just kind of, you know, keep my body well oiled and moving along. I did use LMNT in the past, and that's really great. It is super high in sodium and a couple of the other components, which isn't bad if you're using it kind of in the right situation. But as a day-to-day thing, this is working well for me. I found that in Australia as well. So yeah, that's all my gear. Going to give it a run through tomorrow, make sure everything's running smooth, and that'll just give me a lot of confidence on race day to go out there and do my best. So I'm out here at Asahigelka on the usual trails that I like to run, and I'm going to do a bit of a race simulation. So I'm going to do about 4 hours, nothing too crazy, but enough time on the feet to kind of give myself a race experience, and I'm going to be using all the nutrition that I'll be using on race day as well. So it's a bit cloudy and cool. I'm kind of expecting race day to be really hot, but you never know. So this is kind of as good a day as any to, you know, give it a bit of a test out. So we'll get ready and then we'll head out on the trail. Okay, so ended up calling it short. I did about 2.5 hours, not the intended 4 hours, but I was feeling something uncomfortable in my previously injured hamstring and also kind of in my right ankle. So rather than doing what I always do and just keep going through it and getting injured, I'm just gonna call it short because this isn't a key workout. This was just a test run, and no point overcooking things before the race coming up. So it's better to be underdone than overdone is the philosophy that I think I need to try and work towards more. So just going to call it there, go home, relax, recover over the next couple of days, and just take it nice and easy leading up to the race. So next time I see you, it'll be race week. Super excited, and feeling ready.